Hello. Welcome back. Becca's Bitchin' Books. That's the name of this channel. So today I'm going to do a video on what's on my little cart. Physical copies of stuff that I need to read, as well as some other stuff that's over there, and give you a quick rundown on what is on my Kindle. But before we do that, I do not have bookshelves. I have some books in here. This is not fictional stuff. These books in here are primarily resource guides for divination type stuff that I do over on my other channel. Reading cloths, Lenny cards, teacups from Tea with Karen, candles, and then in there I have, in my closet, I'm pointing at it like you can see it, I have a small bookshelf the length of the closet, but what I have in there is a lot of old textbooks from back when I was in uni, because I don't want to put them up in the attic in case I ever need something for reference. I can just go in there and grab it instead of having to climb up in the attic to go get it. But I'm going to give you guys a quick tour of this room so you know what we're working with, because like I said in my previous video, I do not have storage space to just amass a ridiculous amount of books. I just don't have it. And Peanut would kill me if I did that. Peanut is my husband. That's not his name, but that's what I call him. So let me give you guys a quick tour, and then we'll go through my cart and my Kindle. Okay, so this is what we're working with. This is a spare bedroom that I've turned into a personal office space slash reading room. This is where I film on my other channel. So there's a bed there. There's a picture of my little ferret, Tiny, who passed away a couple years ago. This is a bookshelf here that has all of my Lenny, astrology, numerology, so divination stuff, resource guides in here, reading cloths, cards in there, teacups in there, TBR cart, book sleeves, there's my desk, computer, reading journals, a bag of pens, coffee, water, my Kindle is charging, lamp, you see here. That is a Harry Potter mirror that I got, but inside of it there's it opens up, and inside I have all of my pendulums and stuff like that. In this thing here I have a bunch of incense and stuff in there. There's the bed. So as you can see, I really do not have the room here to in this room to really just have a bookcase. It's crammed. This room is like a 10 by 10, and those are the books, physical books, I want to get through hopefully this month, which I went over on my last video. Verity, Crossings, You, Bloodless, The House on Needless Street, and Slewfoot. Here's a candle that I made that I'm testing. I don't know how I'm happy about that wick, because you can see here towards the corner, it's not looking too happy. So I'm going to have to remedy that somehow. Got the TBR cart out of the corner. So I do not have this thing fully loaded. Like I said in my previous video, I am primarily a Kindle reader because I do not have the space to store physical books. This cart, I used to be storing fragrance oils for my candles, but I'm temporarily using it for physical books. And then once I get through with this shelf, this cart, I'll put my fragrance oils back on there. So let's get started. First book, Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. This has been on this cart for like, I'm going to say 4 or 5 months. The Troop by Nick Cutter. Again, this has been on my cart for about 4 or 5 months. This is a horror novel. This came recommended by Gabby Reads here on YouTube. This is supposed to be one of her favorite horror books, so I'm going to give it a go. Let's see here. Supernatural Enhancements by Edgar Cantero. I'm not sure what genre this is, if this is horror or YA. I'm not sure. So we'll have to see about that. We'll see if I like it. Atlas 6. I think this is fantasy. I know that this is by Olivia Blake. Right there. I know that this book was self-published. And I think since then it's been purchased by, I forget who. This has been on this cart for 8 months. 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle Stewart Truton. This book is supposed to be really interesting. It's supposed to be a murder mystery where I guess these people went to a party and somebody died. And in the book, there's a person, I don't know if he's a detective or who, but they relived that same day for the next 7 days as a different person that was in that group. It says Evelyn Hardcastle will die every day until Aiden Bishop can identify her killer and break the cycle. So, but every time the day begins again, Aiden wakes up in a body of a different guest. And some of its hosts are more helpful than others. So I'm thinking like Clue, like the game Clue, but with a little bit of a supernatural element where this person, Aiden Bishop, comes back every day, but as a different guest. So that sounds really interesting. This has been on my TBR for like 3 months. The Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcy Coates. I was supposed to read this October of last year during Halloween season. It's still on there. Didn't happen. The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. I know that this is young adult. This is about, I believe, a witch that is an ever witch, which means she has the powers of every single season. So spring, summer, fall, winter, and she can practice her magic year round, whereas the other witches can only practice their magic during their time frame. So like if it's a fall witch, they can only practice, their powers are strongest and can only practice during the fall. I had heard that it deals with a lot of really good topics like global warming, climate change, pollution, all that sort of stuff. And here it is, the book Naked. It's just beautiful. It's got butterflies and flowers all over it. So again, this is another book that I was wanting to read in October, and that didn't happen. So there it is. The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. A witch book that I was supposed to read in October. I guess this is a book about a couple of witches that were drowned in a lake and their ghosts come back every year and haunt and kill people. I'm not sure. Can't tell you because I was supposed to read that last year. Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This is another witchy book. So I guess this is about a girl that, a town, every 10 years, a girl is supposed to go and be handed over to this wizard that's supposed to teach him all his secrets. This has been on there since September of 2021. The Secret History of Witches by Louisa Morgan. As you can tell, there's a theme up here. This is all witchy stuff that I was supposed to get to in the fall of last year. It didn't happen. You can see the theme. A Witch in Time by Constance Sayer. This follows, I guess, a reincarnated witch that I believe made a deal with the devil or a demon, and it goes from like 1895 to 1932 to 1970 to 2012. But I guess the curse began in 1895 when she made the deal. So it follows the story of her soul as it becomes reincarnated and that of the devil that she made the deal with. Another book I was supposed to read in the fall and it didn't happen. Hocus Pocus. I found this at Target last year. It was 30% off during Halloween season. And it's for the sequel, the Hocus Pocus sequel, the Sanderson sisters. So I would believe maybe this is young adult. I'm not sure. I love Hocus Pocus, one of my all-time favorite movies. Okie dokie. Deborah Harkness, Discovery of Witches. I have already read this book. This is kind of old, as you can tell by like the yellowing pages. I know that this has since been made into a show. I don't know if it stars or AMC. I'm not sure. But I had finished this years ago. And I had finished the sequel in the trilogy, Shadow of Night, and the Book of Life, which was, this is a 3-part series, a trilogy. But I would like to reread them because see, you can see by the color of the pages, they're very old. I don't exactly remember the stories. So I would like to reread these and catch up on the show because I heard the show was a really good adaptation. I've only watched a little bit of it and then I don't know what happened, but a couple of magazines that I got last year during Halloween season, one about witches and one about America's Most Haunted Places. This is a biography of Maynard James Keenan, who is the lead singer for Tool, Pussifer, and A Perfect Circle. And it's called A Perfect Union of Contrary Things. There's Maynard James Keenan. I love him. I love Tool and Pussifer. And A Perfect Circle. Next up, I have another trilogy. This one, I guess, has been made into a show on HBO Max a few years ago. I found this in the horror section. This is John Dies at the End by Jason Pargin. I believe this was made into a show on HBO. I saw it on HBO Max. I did not watch the show. I just watched the trailer. And I had found this in the horror section of Barnes and Nobles. But I'm thinking this is more of a comedic horror. I did watch the trailer and it's kind of weird. So I guess it's these 2 college dropouts that find this drug that brings people back from the dead or makes monsters and alternate realities and universes. I'm not sure, but everybody was saying it was super funny. So this is the first book in the series, John Dies at the End. The second book in the series is This Book is Full of Spiders. I don't know if this goes with the show on HBO. I have no idea. And then finally, What the Hell Did I Just Read? And this is the last book in that trilogy. So here's an honest story. I bought this simply because of the title. I was like, what the hell did I just read? I want to know. I want to know. It piqued my interest. Next, down here, I have a nonfiction book, The Soul of an Octopus by C. Montgomery. I saw this at Barnes and Nobles. It was in their sales section. And after having watched My Octopus Teacher on Netflix, I was curious to find out more. This is, I guess this is a book written by Montgomery, where she's studying Octopus. And I think there's Athena is one of them, one of the Octopus. It says gentle, they're different personalities: gentle Athena, assertive Octavia, curious Callie, and joyful Karma. So it's a book about octopus and the study of them. So that sounded interesting. The House on the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Cloon. I would like to get to this book soon. If, knock on wood, if I can finish the books I have on my list for this month. I heard this one's a really, really good, feel good, happy sort of book, which I think would be great to sort of break up all the horror and thrillers I have. I had read T.J. Cloon's The House Under the Whispering Door, and I loved it. That one was such a feel-good book. So I'm curious to see what this one's about. I think it's about a house where there's these children that live there that have special powers or something. And this gentleman, Linus, is supposed to go and see if these children are safe, not safe as in danger from society, but safe as in perhaps, safe as in, are they okay around society? Like, are they going to harm people and society? So, but I've heard it's a super good, feel-good book, so we'll see. I'm watching you. This one came from Johnny. Thank you, Johnny. From Teresa Driscoll. This is supposed to be a super fantabulous thriller. Yeah, Johnny sent me this. See, Johnny, I kept your little note from Amazon on here. So I'd like to get to that one as well. The Luminaries. This was a show. I think it was Stars. I think it was like 6 or 7 episodes, but I did not know that it was based on a book. So after I watched that show and I found out that it was based on a book, I went ahead and purchased it. I think I purchased this like earlier last year. I think it was like before the summer of 2021. That's how long this one's been on there. This is by Eleanor Caton. And what's interesting about this book is like the chapters. This is very, even if you watch the show, which in the show, it's not very relevant to see, but it follows a lot of astrology. And that's why it's called The Luminaries. So every character is supposed to be a certain sign or a certain element or a certain astrological happening. So for instance, there's a chapter here called Sun in Aquarius, Mercury in Capricorn. So the book itself takes on the personification of an astrological chart based on each character and based on certain happenings that happen, which again, the show I watched, I really, really enjoyed. But I think once I read this book, when I get around to it, it may provide a little bit more of an understanding of why some things happened, because it's supposed to be, like I said, an astrology chart. So all of the elements in the astrology chart coming in together and how it affects all of the characters in this book. The show was, I cried. It was really good. Okay. House of Leaves. I've already read this once. I'm going to try to read it again. It was in the horror section of Barnes and Nobles. I think I've discussed this before on my other channel where I was like, I don't know if this is horror because I was so confused. There's a lot of elements in here that kind of, I don't know if the author, by Mark Danielewski, I don't know if the author was intentionally trying to pay an homage to Andrew Borges, which was an Argentinian author And he was well known for writing a lot of fictional stuff, but passing it off as if it was real. He was known to do a lot of hoaxy sort of plagiarism. He wrote a lot about minotaurs. So I really need to go back and reread this, take a bunch of notes, and see if my opinion changes, because unless I totally missed the point and it went completely over my head, the only portion of this book that I thought was horror maybe was the house itself. So I'm going to have to go back and reread this, which it's a monster. So I don't know when that's going to happen. I have the bound up Mindfuck series. I got this on my Kindle Unlimited. Loved it. Purchased the entire series, books 1 through 5 on my Kindle. And then saw that they had a binded series in paperback, and I bought it because I absolutely adore this series. It looks thick because it's books 1 through 5, but all of the books themselves are novelas. So about 100 to about 150 pages each for each novel. And there's 5 novels in the series. This is by S.T. Abbey, which is a pen name for C.M. or C.W. Owens. The author has since passed. I believe she passed sometime last year, which was incredibly just so sad. But for those of you that are just tuning in, Mindfuck series, this novella is about this girl named Lana, who is sort of on a mission, revenge killing mission for some stuff that happened to her and her brother and her dad years ago. And she enlists the help of one of her friends to kind of go on this revenge tour of just killing people. She meets an FBI agent. I believe his name is Logan. Yeah, Logan Bennett. And they kind of start a relationship. But the way that these novellas read, while I did enjoy the romance between Lana and Logan, it was almost as if it was like the backseat to all the other crazy stuff that was happening. Serious content warning for this book: violence, graphic violence, rape, torture, all of it. So, but it was so delicious and so good. I was hooked. I read that whole series in like 2 days. Okay, let's see here. The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is now, I think, a movie, but I have not watched it, so shoot me. I would like to get to this sometime in February. Love month. We'll see. Let's see here. American Kingpin by Nick Bilton. This is nonfiction. True story, true crime about this man named Ross Ulbricht, I guess. This happened back in 2011, and it's about a 26-year-old programmer who started the Silk Road, a website where anyone can trade anything, including drugs, forged passports, counterfeit money, poisons, all of it. And it's the story of him and everybody that was involved. See, there's even pictures in here. Catching him, the FBI agents, all of it. Here's a picture of him. I do not remember this story. I guess it was national news and I totally missed it. So it says here, drawing on exclusive access to key players and 2 billion words and images that Ross left behind, Nick Bilton offers a tale filled with twists and turns, lucky breaks, and unbelievable close calls. It might be dismissed as too outrageous for fiction, but it's all too real. So this is really real. It says the epic hunt for the criminal mastermind behind the Silk Road. I do not remember this hitting the news, but I would like to read it. True crime. The Holiday Shop by Maggie Knox. I was supposed to get to this during the holiday season this last December. Didn't happen. Let's see here. This is part of a trilogy. The City of Brass, Kingdom of Copper, and the third one is on my Kindle. I guess this series is a fantasy series about a girl who meets a genie, you know, like a djinn that comes out of those little lamps right here. So I do not usually venture off into fantasy. I'm not sure if this is high fantasy or magical realism. I'm not sure. But I purchased these and the covers are beautiful. I mean, look at that. And this is by S.A. Charbrowski, I think. And the third one, don't remember the name. Like I said, it's on my Kindle. Okay. Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. Another ginormous chunker. This one was a Barnes & Noble special edition. It's got some beautiful character art here, and it's a signed copy. It's got the map here of the kingdom, and I guess this is about a vampire. Vampires are taking over the world or something like that and wiping out the human species. And there's a guy here, I'm not even sure, I'm terrible at this. The main character is, I guess, a half-breed, and he's trying to stop the vampires from killing all the humans, and he gets taken captive, and it's a story between him and the person that's holding him captive. Which kind of reminds me, sort of, I could be wrong, I have not read this, Interview with the Vampire, Rest in Peace. I can't think of her name right now. My brain is dumb. So I'm not sure where this is going to go. I was planning to read this, again, vampire themed, October, didn't happen. Next book, Dracul by Dakar Stoker and J.D. Baker. The story pre-Dracula. Pre-Dracula. And I guess since Dakar Stoker is the great-grand-nephew, I think. I'm not sure, of Bram Stoker. I guess they had gone through and found a lot of his notes and put together, yeah, because it's got stories like the notes and stuff right there. And put together this fictional work. The journals, they found some of his journals right here, the Journal of Bram Stoker. So I guess what they did was went through his journals and pieced together the story, which is supposed to be pre-Dracula. And this is a approved copy, or, you know, approved work by the Bram Stoker Institute. I guess there's an institute that said, yeah, go ahead and write it. All right. The next book is S. This is written by, oh gosh, I don't even know the guy's name. Is it on here? J.J. Abrams and Doug Stork. I had to order this from Barnes & Nobles, and it took about 3 months to get, because I guess these books are out of print. This came out, I want to say about 2017, 2011, something like that. I do not remember. And it's a story about these two, one uni student, I guess he's going in for his PhD, and he's trying to write a book here about V.M. Straka, who wrote this book, The Ship of Theseus. That's why it's got like this little library binding here. So it's a couple of stories in this book. The story of The Ship of Theseus, written by V.A. Straka, which they cannot find anything on this author. And the PhD student is checking this book out of the library. And as you can see here in the margins, there's a bunch of stuff going on back and forth between him and another student that are exchanging notes, because she is also borrowing this book So you have the story of the Ship of Theseus, and then you have the story happening in the margins between the two grad students. So that should be pretty interesting. This one I might want to read very slowly because I would like to read the Book of Straka and then turn around and read the margins to see what's going on. But ever since I bought this, I have seen it on the tables at Barnes and Nobles. I guess it's making a resurgence based off of Book Talk. So you may not have to wait that long. It's a very interactive book. It's got a bunch of little tchotchkes and stuff inside, like postcards and notes and maps and, you know, all that sort of stuff. So, but it was close to $50. I think it was like $48 for this book. But I'm curious to get to this. I'll try to get to this sometime in the summer because the Ship of Theseus, that, I don't know, for some reason it really makes me think of like Pirates of the Caribbean, some sort, you know, something like that. Okay, next book, another Jason Pargin series. It's a duology, and I will tell you, I bought this simply because the title of the book. So the first book in the series is Futuristic Violence and Fancy Pursuits. Again, this was in the horror section, but I don't know. It says, get ready for a world in which anyone can have the powers of a god or the fame of a pop star, in which achievements soar to new heights, while its depravity plunges to the blackest depths. A world in which at least one cat smells like a seafood shop's dumpster on a hot summer day. This is the world in which Zoe Ash finds herself, navigating a futuristic city in which one can find elements of the fantastic, nightmarish, and ridiculous on any street corner. Her only trusted advisor is the aforementioned cat, but even in the future, cats cannot give advice, at least not any that you want to follow. Will Zoe figure it all out in time? Or maybe the better question is, will you? After all, the future is coming sooner than we think. So this is the first book in the series. And then the second one, the reason I bought this one was because this one had me cracking up, and it's Zoe Punches the Future in the Dick. That's right. I bought this book simply because that title had me cracking up. So this is the second one in the series, and I guess somehow Zoe inherits this criminal organization, and I have no idea. I'll have to let you know, but it sounds like a fun time. Okay, we're finally getting to the bottom of the cart. Colleen Hoover, Ugly Love. I hope to read this in February. It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. Let me see here. It Started One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I have not read this yet. There is a second one coming out, I think in March. I'm not sure. So I would like to read this in February. Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. I'll try to get to this one in February. Written in the Stars by Alexandria Belfour. This is supposed to be sapphic romance. You can see there, two girls. Let me see here. Horrid by Katrina Leno. This was sent to me by Sharon. Ann, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that's on my TBR. Hopscotch by Julio Cortázar. This is another book that's a bit of a puzzle, and you kind of have to put it together. It's not meant to be read cover to cover. It has you bouncing around. Let me see. Again, here's the instructions on how to read it. So it has you bouncing around from page to page, kind of like crossings here that I would like to get to in the month of January. Let's see here. 7 Dirty Secrets by Natalia Richards. I got this at Barnes and Nobles because it was at the cafe, a special. if you bought a coffee, you could get this book for $5. So, and it says here, a twisty thrill ride that will leave you breathless. This is supposed to be a thriller book. It says here, on her 18th birthday, Cleo receives a mysterious invitation to a scavenger hunt. She's sure her best friend Hope or her brother Connor is behind it, but no one confesses. And as Cleo and Hope embark on the hunt, the seemingly random locations and clues begin to feel familiar. In fact, every clue seems to be about Cleo's dead boyfriend, Declan, who drowned on a group rafting trip exactly 1 year ago. A bracelet she bought him, a song he loved, a photograph of the rafting group taken before Declan drowned. And then the phone calls start. Declan's voice taunting Cleo with the cryptic question, "You ready?" As the clock on the scavenger hunt ticks down, it becomes clear that someone knows what really happened to Declan, and that person will stop at nothing to make sure Cleo and her friends pay. Can they solve the hunt before someone else winds up dead? So, $5, Barnes & Noble's. 20% off at Target. This one is The Royals Next Door, Karina Hale. I guess it's supposed to be a romantic comedy, contemporary romance. So I have no idea what this is about. It was 20% off, so I got it. Hench by Natalia Zena Walshkotz. I read the synopsis for this book, and it kind of made me think of that show on Amazon. Is it Bad Boys? The ones where the superheroes are not really superheroes, but they're like really bad and mean. This is supposed to be like that. I don't know. I read the synopsis and it reminded me of Bad Boys, and it's about a girl named Anna who works at a temp agency that's supposed to be promoting the superheroes, but then a superhero really F's her up and she ends up disabled for the rest of her life. So then she partners with the villain to try to take down the superheroes. It says here, fast, furious, compelling, and angry as hell. So it sounds fun. Let's see. I got White Smoke by Tiffany D. Jackson. I think this might be a young adult kind of haunted house sort of book. Another book that I didn't get to in October. The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I have no idea what that is about. I have no idea. None. And then finally, 7 Days in June. This was 30% off at Target, so I picked it up, and I think this one's supposed to be a romance. We shall see. I'm 33 minutes into this video. All right. I got to put all this stuff back onto the little cart. I showed you guys on my previous video the pile here that I'm going to try to get to this month. And we'll see. Wish me luck, because it's a pretty ambitious list. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I will see you all next time. Bye.